The video begins in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is just southeast of Nashville. I'm at the Embassy Suites, and I'm here for another great Star Trek themed event. I guess I got hooked from DragonCon a couple weeks ago. I'm at the Star Trek in Nashville convention. This convention ran for 3 days, but I'm only able to attend on Saturday, but they should have a lot of Star Trek stars and panels today. I'm a little disappointed that John Delancey was unable to show up. I saw him at DragonCon, and I regret not meeting him there, so I was hoping to see him at this event, but unfortunately he cancelled earlier this week. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! There'll be lots of stars from Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Enterprise, Lower Decks, and Picard, and hopefully I'll get some selfies with them. It's gonna be a great day. Let's go! Before the panels begin this morning, I wanted to check out the vendors and see what they have for sale. And over here they have many action figures from various series. The blank stares of Captain Catherine Janeway and Commander Data. There's also a Spock and a Gorn. There are lots of shirts, teddy bears, models of starships, tricorders, and weird looking little dolls of Kirk and Mirror Universe Spock. More dolls over at this table. And there are also some coffee mugs and temporary tattoos. Dr. Beverly Crusher will be here. This is where the autographs and selfies will be offered by many Star Trek stars, and I will be getting some selfies later on, including Action Saru, Doug Jones from Disco, also David Ajala, and Gabriela Ruiz from Lower Decks. Anson Mount, Captain Christopher Pike from Strange New Worlds will be here, and he'll also be selling some of his handmade pottery. Also Kay Bess and Adele Shepard, they were in Star Trek Picard. Michelle Hurd is here, looking forward to her panel with Todd Stashford today. Also Don Lewis and Tawny Newsome are here. Sonequa Martin Green and Captain Michael Burnham from Disco will be here tomorrow. Christina Chong and Ethan Peck from Strange New Worlds will be here, and I will see their panels today and maybe get selfies. Look at all these patches. This table also has teddy bears and a great supply of pins. Just take a look at all of these awesome pins. I'll have to get at least one pin today. They also sell autographed photos of various Star Trek celebrities, and down here they have Star Trek Christmas ornaments. Some more signed photos on this side of the table, and more action figures of the starships, and I do spy an Enterprise J ship seen briefly in the Enterprise series. But my favorite photo? Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. I may attend a Supernatural convention in December. This booth sells all kinds and sizes and colors of tribbles. Everyone except the Klingons think these are adorable. This table has com badges from the various Trek TV series. I'm gonna get one. Photos of Jeffrey Combs and Vaughn Armstrong, who each play multiple characters in several series. They will also have a panel today. There's Gates McFadden as Dr. Beverly Crusher, Ethan Peck as Spock, a still from Picard, and many other stills and glamour shots from the many Star Trek series. Here's Sonequa Martin Green from Disco, and then some stills from Strange New Worlds, including lots of Anson Mount, who plays Captain Pike. This table has jewelry for sale. The lady running this table says that she hand makes all the jewelry for sale here. That's pretty awesome. The kickoff panels have started, and there are 2 scientists that are discussing if it's possible that there are planets that have sentient life. I got the basic admission tickets, so I'm about 15 rows behind the stage. The first 10 rows are premium priced.
Well, he did a few things where he got killed. He did Rocketeer, he got killed in Rocketeer, he got killed in Sister Act, yeah.
He dies well. Max dies great.
And some other really lovely productions, some of the best theater really I've ever seen. It's really taken aback, so she's great. And then go!
Yeah, well, the fact is, they knocked on my door after I finished getting the makeup on and said, Vaughn, can we talk to you? We're not gonna get to you today. After 7.5 hours of makeup. So then it was another 2 hours to take it off, and I had to come back.
What time was your makeup call?
3:30 a.m. And we finished 7 hours later. I'm getting ready to get on stage and didn't get to it. So I had to come back at 3:30 a.m. the next day and do it again. And I had another show for NBC.
The thing when you just sort of relax and let that image do the work. Because a camera is an unblinking eye. It's right in your face. And you have to trust that. Because if you try to act anytime, it's not going to be any good.
Given that you've gotten to play so many ancillary characters and some main ones, which culture or race did you wish you could have played but didn't get the opportunity to?
That's a great question.
Human.
I finally got to do one after some 25 years. Finally got to do a human enterprise, but I don't know. Two, actually. I was Admiral Forrest and I was Captain Forrest at the In the Mirror Darkly, which, by the way, Newsweek picked as their best episode of Enterprise.
That's just great.
Thank God there was a good one, at least.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, no.
The makeup, would you do it or not?
Absolutely. I'd do it. I'd do another 12 characters if they wanted to do it.
My answer would be it depend upon the character. I mean, I don't think that I can get away with Wei-Yun because he's just so sort of porcelain and kind of very, very elegant. I'm too old for that, but I can do a Shran. I can do Shran.
You know, aliens age too.
No, it's not that. It's the makeup.
Clones don't age, so I don't think that
It's not about the aging, it's about the work, the 7 hours of makeup or the 6 hours of makeup. Because I have some actors who've said absolutely not, no matter what.
You know, the makeup people told me a story about a guy who just couldn't take it. And he was only a Romulan or something.
Some actors
isn't
get
that much.
claustrophobic.
Yeah, and they said last looks, and they thought he was going to the bathroom, but what he did was he took off his wig, he threw it in the garbage, and he got in his car and left without telling them he was going to quit.
They were
And
running
Michael
around.
Westmore goes, "Oh my God, that's a $2,000 wig!" And he jumped on his bicycle and rode out to the garbage and took it out of the garbage.
And Avery looked at me and he just went, and I went, oh yeah, okay, just relax. That's good. Hey, tell me what the direction Avery gave you.
I was he was directing me in a Ferengi episode, and I had this speech, this and that, and the other, and he said, "Okay, cut." And he walked up to me. Now, first of all, Avery is a very obtuse fellow. I mean, he's very jazz. And so some of the things that he says sometimes are, what? But he came up to me and he kind of thought about it and he said one word. He went, "Slalom." And he walked away.
How did you interpret that direction?
I knew exactly, then it hit. I knew exactly what he meant. Those guys that go ski and hit those flags with their shoulder, he's saying, go, flow, you got this, you know the course, just hit the flags and put it all together.
Goody. You know her as Nurse Chapel. Jess Bush.
Good morning, everybody.
And of course, you're gonna have your socks knocked off from this panel. It's gonna be the best ever. Christina Chong, please.
So anyway, he gets to look after us. We could do anything right now.
They should have Who's
never let us be by ourselves.
No one can tell us off.
No. It's this. Do you feel more empowered in your role or disadvantaged in your role, not having past work to reference for your character?
I feel way more advantaged because I'm empowered because I'm essentially co-creating it with the writers, and I don't have the job that these guys have of having the legacy characters to work towards. They know where they're going.
Christina, I know you pushed for the musical episode, and I was wanting to know, all three of you, how you felt personally about doing that episode, and hopefully maybe another one might come out at some point.
You want to go first?
Sure. I loved doing a musical episode. When I first heard that we were doing it, I thought we were joking. Just because the idea of taking such a beloved show and in a beloved franchise like Trek, and we're doing a prequel-based show, so everything that we do are now the memories of characters that exist in a show that's already done. And so it was a really big swing, but I have a musical background, I love musical theater. It's where I
She has a Grammy, by the way, as well. We did karaoke this last season.
We sure did. We sure did. Not on camera, but
Oh, you thought we'd given away a spoiler then, didn't you?
No. I always go with Before He Cheats. That. See? Y'all get it. International. Love country music over here. Yeah, Before He Cheats is my. Is that? Carrie Underwood, Before He Cheats is my go-to.
I always go for something either like Spice Girls or Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera. You know, something that people can sing along to. I don't really. I mean, I thought I hated karaoke until we did that in season. I was like, hang on a second, this rules. I don't know if I've got a favourite. You guys might not know this band because they're Australian. Do you guys know the Veronicas? Yes! Do you guys know the Veronicas? Do you know the Veronicas? Seminal, early 2000s, mid 2000s, kind of like pop duo. They're twin sisters. I saw them live at a festival like maybe 2 years ago, and didn't realize, like, there's this song that like everyone in their 30s in Australia knows off by heart. It was like a radio banger, like mid 2000s. I can't remember the name. I know. Oh, this is terrible, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Give it up for Sally Rosen, Jeff Bush, and Christina Chong. And I don't even have to really introduce them because they're already on stage. Keep that applause going for the incredible Todd Stashwick and Michelle Hurd.
Thank you.
I'll leave it all up.
I'm Todd Stashwick, you know, as we do. Very excited to be here. Thank you guys for being here in this lovely studio here. I was going to ask you a question about working on Picard. And the question is, did you enjoy yourself?
Did I enjoy myself working on Picard?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I just went, nah? Worst time of my life.
Reunited with Terry Natalis from 12 Monkeys.
Just seeing so many things.
Phenomenal character.
The bigger question is, did you like working with me on
Did I like working with you?
But barely. We
Which
barely.
is wrong. Don't you think that these two should have like a scene or something together? Maybe in a series, something called Legacy. I don't know.
But yeah, we only had one scene together, and that was in the hallway during my demise.
I know, but I stuck with you.
Spoilers.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
I did not survive the season.
I mean, I stuck with you. I stuck with 7 of 9, but I was there.
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure.
You guys looked like me in the hallway, but whatever.
But
just knuckleheaded jokers, and it's so like Jerry and yourself, and everybody's just like, we're a family, and we're here to have fun, and you are now part of that family. How about yourself?
You know, first, I already worked with Jonathan Frakes as well. He directed me on a show I did called The Glades, which we shot down in, right?
Who else was on the Glades?
You.
Todd Stashwick.
That's right. I always used to joke about The Glades because people really enjoyed it, and I was like, it was like, Scooby-Doo for adults. We're like, there's a dead body. You know, I liked it. It's an amazing thing that we all do that with our family members, that we actually do watch Star Trek with our children, our siblings. It's generational. Something about Roddenberry, he knew that. He knew that we all needed to have some kind of a show that we could all watch was about hope, about a better tomorrow, about inclusivity, about all of us, living on a planet.
Aliens and lasers.
And aliens and people who are all blue and hairy. I mean, it's phenomenal.
But also, I'm half kidding. I think one of the reasons that he was able to, obviously, you guys know this, but he was able to stealth messages about social issues, but couched in like tribbles and pointed ears and outer space and spaceships. And so it never felt like we were being preached to. It felt like somebody said Star Trek doesn't tell you what to think, it asks you to think.
Ooh. What Rocky was doing, she was always right, just FYI. But to see that and to, we've both been acting for a period of time. And moisturizer. And to walk into a set where you have, Sir Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, these iconic, not only characters, but actors, and to own the space like you did. I mean, that was truly beautiful.
So it takes a village to make a character.
True.
Because the character isn't just me. I will say thank you, because my mama taught me to be gracious.
Your mama's good.
So thank you. That makes me feel very good that I did my job. Half of the writing staff of Picard were 12 Monkeys writers. So they have been writing to my strengths for 4 seasons. So when I stepped onto my bridge and said my first words, it had felt like I was playing Shaw for years.
That's amazing.
Like it didn't feel like, I'm gonna try new, sometimes it takes us a while to find the voice of the character, but they found it long before I ever hit the soundstage. So I was
that was very kind, and you're also just a really talented actor. Just FYI.
Recruited people to play during or after shooting of Picard? Did you play on set? Did the other people that you're doing D&D with know anything about it, or did you have to lure them into the...
I was the cult leader.
He is the cult leader.
The pusher.
Total pusher.
I tempt them in with clickety-clackety math rocks. So I was the D&D nerd on the set. And I had played with some of the writers, with Terry and Chris Monfett, who's actually in my ongoing. And it was sort of during and after production that I was like, hey, does anybody want to come over and play? Like Mika and
in his own lair.
In my nerd lair, because it is not a man cave, because nerdery has no gender. Right? So I'm the one who sort of led the pack of that, and then Will Beaton is a big D&D nerd as well, and then that sort of extended itself into the charity games that I do for Pavlov to fight childhood cancer, which you may have seen Michelle play with us earlier was it this year? It was earlier this year.
And how much did we make?
$54,000!
For childhood cancer, you guys.
Well, first, it was all on the page. It was there.
Right.
Like I said, the song was written beautifully. Sean Tretta and Terry Metalis wrote that scene. So I had that. Then over here behind the camera, I had Jonathan Frakes. And then right here, I have Patrick Stewart and Ed Spilliers. So I was set up for success. I had such a support system. As far as preparation goes, now we're going to get into a little sausage factory here. Complex trauma, which I'm sure many of you are living with. You know that when you're triggered, the thing that traumatized you is immediately there again. It's happening again to you. That's why it's called a trigger, because it brings up all of those emotions. And often, what it does is it puts you back into the place when it was happening, where it was happening. You can smell what the room smelled like. And so my job as an actor to authentically as best as I can, execute complex trauma, I had to image everything. I had to see the engine room, I had to see the Borg attacking, I had to see my comrades dying around me, feel that fear in that moment, so that when he's in front of Jean-Luc Picard, who he holds responsible, all of that is, he's now a young ensign again, going through it all again. And so that was the prep, without getting too precious, and then having Frank's there to say, do it from the top again. So I always got to reset the whole thing, so I didn't have to jump into the middle of it hot. And here's my humble brag, earmuffs. After the scene was over, Patrick walks up to me and he squeezes my arm and he goes, so fucking good.
It's the best, very complimentary. I really enjoy playing ordinary, flawed individuals in extraordinary situations. And that's pretty much Rafi. So I would really love to see, we were just talking about this, that I would really love to see that bridge that, Jack, 7 and 9, and Rafi out into the galaxy and actually just see what they could, what kind of mischief they would get into. But really that's, I'm not a writer. I could kind of come up with sort of things, but honestly, I just think that it's sort of like all of us, right? To see how we navigate when we're in sort of extraordinary situations. That's what's interesting, right? Mirroring life and not just making it sort of unbelievable, but making it believable and sort of going, oh my God, if I was in that situation, what would I do? How would I get through? So that's what I'm always interested in, is how does an ordinary, flawed individual handle themselves in extraordinary situations? And it's yummy as an actor to sort of explore that. What about you, dude?
First I have to resurrect.
There we go.
Oh, right.
So that would be interesting. Then second, you guys are amazingly observant. That's not a question.
Was it an absolute joy?
Oh, was it an absolute joy?
Well done, sir.
As much as it was it?
Was it?
For us to watch.
I thought it,
Then it
yeah,
goes up
I was
again, wasn't
inverted. I'm being silly. Man alive. Like, it's exactly the kind of character that I like to play. And thank you for that question. Thank you for those kind words. My roots are in comedy. I was a Second City Chicago guy. I thought I was going to do Saturday Night Live. I was up for it in '95. I thought that was going to be the trajectory of my life. And life had other plans. So when I approach a character as dark as that, I always try to find the funny. And when I'm doing straight comedy, if the character's funny, I try to find the darkness, because I think there's a journey between the two. Man, if I could get to play characters like Shaw for the rest of my career, where I wrestle with the audience's opinion of him and have a sea change, ideally, because it's on the page, it's up to you guys to come with me on the journey. But that's what we shoot for, is to have people who aren't one thing.
Because none of us are one thing, right? We're all sort of complex creatures. That's what makes it sort of beautiful. Closing words. Once again, just to say what I just said about the fact that I'm so grateful to be part of this family. I love Rafi. I'm sure you guys can tell how much I love her. She's such an amazing creature. I love being able to have told the story of somebody who was an addict, because we have people who are part of our families and our friends, and they're here and they're part of our world, and they're not to be diminished and they're not to be pushed aside. They have something to say. I also always like to speak about our LGBTQ world and our neurodiverse world. They're part of our community. I thank you guys so much for letting me play that part and bring that stories to life. And you've been so supportive, and I am humbled and grateful. Thank you, thank you.
So, closing words? No.
That's such a bother.
Let's see us at the table.
Thank you, guys.
And so they're funny, they're informative, and they just went viral. And it was so much fun to do.
With a couple of glasses in him, he is the most interesting man in the world. Let me tell you.
Hey, that's right. It is. I mean, I get very. I had another good joke about that. I get very not animated. I get very passionate. I get very something inebriated about wine, and especially when I drink 2 bottles before you drink it.
is amazing the difference it makes. The palatability that oxygenation does to it, particularly red.
And I personally like really dry wines. I mean, you know, I'm not a sweet wine drinker. If somebody's pouring a Zinfandel, what they call red Zinfandel, that pink wine, I will walk out of the bar. I won't even stay in the bar. And I will not drink Merlot.
It's got a good body.
I'm getting a little, you know what, let me share this with you. Again, why do we do this crap anyway? Why do you sit here? Why do you smell? Why do you whatever? We do it, and I say, it forces you to be present in the moment in your life. I'm not thinking about, oh, when is this convention going to be over? How much money am I going to make? Where am I going to have for dinner? If you really force yourself to be present, I guarantee you will have a more pleasant experience with your life. So this kind of stuff that we're doing here, you know, what do you smell? It makes me be right in the moment, right?
Subtle hint of grape.
I got a little, I mean, stuff like almost a little graphite in there, almost a little pencil, you know. You know, they come up with so many great little things about, oh, it smells like church bingo or something.
Getting a little bit of eraser. Know them as Captain Pike and Spock. It is Anson Mount. He needs louder cheers. I said Anson Mount. There he is. And the gorgeous Ethan Peck.
Yes. Anybody here from Tennessee? What's going on? So after season 2, I bought this vintage Camaro in Toronto, and I drove it from Toronto down to a bachelor party in New Orleans. And along the way, I stopped in a few places. Anson actually came with me to Detroit. It was our first stop, where we gambled at the MGM and got drunk. And I stopped in Indianapolis, Louisville, Nashville, where he hooked me up with some of his friends. And then I stopped at his hometown and visited one of his childhood friends who owns a barbecue place. And I had breakfast barbecue. So that was great. I love Tennessee, and I've had a wonderful time here.
Do you have to wrangle this horde of people that just, you know, are they sort of unwieldy, or do they respect?
They don't need any wrangling.
We're self-wrangling.
We have a very, very highly functional group of adults. And everybody in the crew operates at the top of the game. I mean, it's mostly Star Trek fans that make the show. So everybody is putting in their A game every day. I just try not to let them down and, you know, try to keep positive. And sometimes, in what is sometimes the face of what is seeming defeat. You know, filmmaking is the continual realization of Murphy's Law in action.
Emotional tone, I say he established completely. And so we all sort of match his energy. What he brings to Captain Pike and on the bridge is something that really sets the stage for the rest of us emotionally and performance-wise. So, thanks for that.
Thanks, man.
And how did you get into it?
Where exactly is your family from?
Swanee, Tennessee.
In Swanee itself?
Yeah.
Okay. I was a theater major, but I took a lot, you know, it's a liberal arts school, so I was able to take a lot of philosophy and religion and English. Kind of a very good broad education. And I'm glad I did that. I think one of my greatest tools as an actor is having that liberal arts education. And I go back up there every chance I get. We were up there last October for the induction of the new Vice Chancellor, and then I was just up there for a funeral. That's why I had to miss Comic-Con San Diego this year. So.
You've done a couple of these.
Would you like to moderate?
If this is a job offer, absolutely.
I don't know. What is your? I like Dragon Con. I think Dragon Con is consistently. You know, it's just a big party. It's such a great party.
Vegas is really fun.
Vegas is fun. Bonn, Germany is really warm. They're lovely there.
FedCon in Germany.
Yeah, and I like going to New Orleans just for the sake of going to New Orleans. Where else have we had a good time? Shore Leave was fun that one time we went.
Yeah, that was, I met Michelle Nichols.
Yeah.
At Shore Leave.
Yeah, we took a picture with her.
Yeah.
Have a favorite country music song and artist?
Well, I think we have to tell them. I think we have to tell them about last night. Do you wanna?
No, you do it.
Okay. So, when I joined Discovery, when I showed up and I did my fitting and my makeup test, and they were showing me around the set, I think it was Jody, our director, was telling me he just missed Brad Paisley, and I was like, was he playing the stadium, or like? She's like, no, he's a huge Star Trek fan. He came to see the set, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, this guy must be following me around because he was a huge Hell on Wheels fan too, and kept wanting to be on the show. And anyway, so when it was announced that we were getting our own show, I can't remember if he DM'd me or I DM'd him, but anyways, we ended up messaging each other a lot, and then he did my podcast during the pandemic, and we just ended up talking on the phone. And when my wife and I decided we were going to move to Nashville, he said, out of the blue, he said, why don't you just come and stay with me and my family? And we did. And stayed in his guest house, which also has a recording studio. And he's a huge Star Trek fan. And so anyways, I loaded the guys up last night, and we took an Uber down to his house, and he also has a beautiful bourbon bar built into that house that he had sent his you can't call him a handyman because he's an artist. He has this guy named Denver that does all the work on the place. He flew Denver had never been on a plane before, and he flew Denver to Dublin and London to just walk around and look at pubs, to take pictures and build this bar. And we went and just had a great time hanging out with Brad. And so I'd be in trouble if I said anybody other than Brad Paisley.
Brad Paisley is the answer.
I host an axe throwing tournament every year.
Then you win every year. He hosts an axe throwing tournament that he wins every year, is what he meant to say.
I don't know what else to do. We go out every now and then, but it's a grueling schedule, so there's not a lot of time.
Yeah, and we had this strange misfortune of beginning production during the apocalypse. And so we couldn't, normally when you begin a new show, right, so Anson and Rebecca Romaine, who plays number 1, or Una, and myself all come from Discovery, so we knew each other somewhat, had a chemistry, but we have 5 new series regulars that joined us on Strange New Worlds, and we were unable to have like a cast dinner, which is very typical for a new television show. The producers and the writers will get together, and we have a big dinner, and everybody gets to know each other, and starts to build a rapport, and we just didn't have that. And so for the most part, I would say that I knew most of the other actors as their characters, right? Because mostly we're dressed up and pretending to be these other people at work most of the time. So that's very unusual. And yeah, we don't really have a lot of time outside of work, unfortunately. We've had some fun adventures at conventions, drinking some stuff, bourbon and stuff.
The question is basically, did you contemplate becoming part of the Star Trek legacy when you were being cast?
You got that, and then what? The Shatner thing, what?
Being here until you're 99, meeting us. You know, all these conventions all the time for 20, 50 years.
Well, for First of all, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for sharing that. I got to know Colin Meaney pretty well on Hell on Wheels, and we talked about it a little bit, but I was just excited to have a job, and you can't really think about that stuff when you're trying to do the job. So I've gotten very good about burying my head in the sand and focusing on the work right in front of me. So not really, but this is, the convention circuit and things like this has been really a blessing for me, not just in terms of my overall livelihood and my family, but the ability to have interaction with the fans directly has been a real gift.
Episodes you hate.
Bad ones? No, I'm kidding. I guess if I were not to like something or anything, I'm usually paying attention to cinematography, writing, performance can put me off. If you're not tracking the right thing in the story, that can really put me off. If you're jumping from this to that, there's kind of no sort of cohesion in sort of what you're tracking, that bugs me. But if you want me to name names? I don't think I would remember any that I hated. A lot as the character of Spock, and so I guess rules had been established for me as the performer. And I guess you could call that constricting, but there's also a lot of freedom in it because the time has not been seen on camera before, right? This time before. And how did he become the way he is? And I think the writers do a really wonderful job of making him more experimental with his humanness, which is, I think, kind of what my performance orbits. And yeah, I spent a lot of time with Nimoy in the first season, mostly at the beginning, and as Spock, and sort of understanding what I interpreted he was doing as an actor with the character, the way he processed information as the character, because Spock seems to hear things and feel things differently and express himself differently. But then there's also a lot of room to find original nuance or have new experiences as the character.
The last activity was a trivia game, which didn't really interest me that much. They could only handle 30 people playing, and it was all yes or no format. Nothing like trivia night at your favorite pizza place. So I'm gonna head on out. It's raining right now. This is the remnants from Hurricane Francine, but it's been way downgraded and this is just rain and a little wind. Nothing too bad. It was a really good day and I did get a bunch of selfies. So actually the very first selfie I got at the con was with Todd Stashwick. Many people know him as Captain Liam Shaw from season 3 of Picard. Many people didn't like him just because, Shaw was grumpy captain, but he turned out to be one of the best parts of the season. And one of my favorite parts about meeting him was just him being super duper nice, and he was actually playing music at his booth, and we were talking to him about his role in the show Supernatural, season 4, episode 5, where he actually played this really eccentric version of Dracula. And when he started up his music, the song Night Moves started playing. If you know, you know, Supernatural fans. Really, really nice, and if you just watched him as Shaw, you wouldn't expect that, but he was one of the nicest people ever. Doug Jones, who played Saru in Star Trek Discovery, and yes, he is as tall as you think he is. He is, but he was one of the sweetest people I've ever met. I've always heard that he's just like the nicest guy you'll ever meet, and well, I guess I know that now. I got a selfie with Ethan Peck. He plays Spock in Strange New Worlds, and I actually forgot that he started out in Discovery. He, again, was one of the sweetest people ever. He was really, I don't know why I didn't expect him to be as nice as he was. He was asking us where we were from and everything, if we were having a good con, so. Ever meet Ethan Peck? One of the greatest people ever. So the last selfie that we got was Christina Chong. She plays Lieutenant La'an Noonien Singh on Strange New Worlds. One of the greatest additions to the Star Trek universe. She is super duper talented. She's able to play La'an perfectly, and she's super duper nice in real life, even though La'an is very, very gruff and everything. But one of the first things I saw Christina in was the seasons of the British crime drama Line of Duty that she was in. Fantastic in that. And, you know, she as well was very, very nice. Everybody I met at the con was very, very nice, and we're just grateful for that. My favorite panel was definitely the one with Michelle Hurd and Todd Stashwick. They're great together. I had some audio issues during the panel, mainly with Ethan Peck and Anson Mount's panel. The microphones kept making loud feedback noises. I think Anson got a little upset. But I had a really great time. I'm so glad I got to go and meet all these incredible stars. I'm also glad I got to meet up with an old friend for dinner after the convention. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!